This is the Christmas Eve edition of the show, and we hope that everybody's going to have a lovely holiday. Matthew, you seem to be in the spirit there, buddy. Um, are you all set for the holiday?
Yep, good to go. Did some last thing Christmas shopping earlier today. In perfectly me fashion. I've waited until the last minute to do it. So, but got everything taken care of.
Well, that's the most important thing, right? It's the shopping and the fun. I mean, it's kind of like anticlimactic. Once Christmas is there, you already get the gifts, and by lunchtime, you're like, yeah, okay, fine, it's
Yeah.
done. Um,
One thing
which
I don't love is
Go ahead.
the Christmas Eve traffic.
Oh gosh, no, that's nasty.
Hmm.
Um, so there's a bit of debate going on now, and that is for decades the NBA has had Christmas pretty much to themselves.
Hmm.
In some ways, many have called it kind of first the first time people begin to start watching basketball because there's so much college football and other things going on that
Hmm.
the regular season has obviously kicked off, but this is when people begin to focus on the NBA because they had normally back in the day, I mean, in last year, um, they would split it up and TNT would have a package of games and starting at about noon, ABC and ESPN would have the afternoon games, and then they would give the night games to TBS, and the last one would tip off around 10:30. So you would have pretty much 12 hours of NBA basketball, which, by the way, you still do.
Hmm.
However, starting last year, as we know, uh, Netflix made a deal with the NFL to do two games on Christmas Day. And as it is a Thursday this year, the NFL will stream three games. They have an early game, Washington and the Dallas Cowboys, and then they move on from there to the rest of the slate uh, for the rest of the day. And Netflix has their doubleheader. They kick things off with the Kelly Clarkson concert in Dallas, and move on into Thursday night football. So um, I guess the question is, do twofold really. Um, is that going to affect how would you normally watch some NBA basketball on a Christmas day as something that you would sit back and kind of enjoy just to decompress? And now that football is available, will you tune in football?
So, I for the longest time now, like just the way my Christmas day goes is
Hmm.
generally in the afternoon. I'll end up at my dad's, and
Hmm.
at that point, we're doing gifts and everything like that. But
Sure,
in the past, we've just thrown it on, kind of as background
something in
noise.
the background, yeah.
And I think the same thing is going to go for the NFL this year. I think now that football's an option. It has
Hmm.
taken ownership of that day. People can accuse the NFL of taking it. There's no accusations to be made. They have taken it. I think you'll be able to look at the ratings, and that'll be reflected in the numbers after Christmas Day.
Hmm.
So I don't think there's any question that the NFL has taken over Christmas Day from the NBA. And I mean, in all fairness, the product the NFL is putting out on the field this Christmas Day,
Hmm.
it's not going to match that of what it was last year. Last year
Hmm.
you had the Chiefs fighting, trying to get back, I
Right.
think, one seed at that point in time in Pittsburgh. And I
Hmm.
think you had some snow on Christmas Day there as
Yeah.
well. Um, but no, you're getting three backup quarterbacks. I forget what the exact matchups are, but it's
Well, we
something.
got the Cowboys and the Commanders at 1 o'clock. If that's a time when you would rather watch the Knicks play basketball, that might be the best time. Uh,
Mhm.
that's the opener on Netflix. The second game on Netflix is a very important game, and that is the Lions and the Vikings. It's obviously more important to the Lions than it is the Vikings, but that's the key game. And then, of course, the Thursday night football game. In name was going to be interesting, but turns out it's not so much now. It's the Broncos and the Chiefs.
Yeah, the Chiefs are on their third string quarterback. I
Yeah.
can't even remember that guy's name. Max Brosmer, I believe, is going to start for for the Vikings in that football game
Mhm.
against the Lions. That's a tough one. And then I forget, is Marcus Mariota healthy? Is he still playing football for the Commanders?
Yeah, because Jalen Daniels isn't available.
Oh, okay. No. Marcus Mariota got hurt. Josh Johnson is now the starting
Oh,
quarterback.
is that what? Okay,
Yeah.
because I know
So
that early in the week I had read where they might be able to. He might be able to play.
he might be able to play. No, he's out. He's out officially.
Okay,
So Mariota is out officially. So in that noon slate, you'll have Josh Johnson, uh, career backup journeyman in the NFL. You'll have Max Brosmer starting in the 4:30 window there for the Vikings. I'm sure that's going to be and I mean it's Max Brosmer with all due respect to him, but the Vikings probably don't have much of a chance in that game with him sitting at quarterback. And then for the Chiefs, they're on their third string quarterback as well because what's it called? Gardner Minshew tore his ACL last week.
right.
Mahomes is obviously out for the season, and they're on. God, who are they on now?
Chris Odom.
There we go. So three marquee matchups. It's going to be interesting just based on the way that the injury situation has worked out at quarterback for three of those teams, each one affecting each window. Um, if the NFL still dominates the ratings compared to the NBA, then the NBA has a problem, and they have to start getting creative because their day of the year, which was Christmas Day, is now gone and belongs to the NFL.
Well, and the other aspect of this is something that is really quite interesting from the NFL standpoint. All three of these games are streaming games,
Mm-hmm.
so they're not on traditional television. They are streaming, and so you've got Netflix, who has already said that when the new contract comes up, they will be bidding for one of the packages, either the Fox package or the CBS package. Um, there'll be that additional package, which is your favorite, the 9:30 games in Europe, of eight games during the season, and then of course there's the Monday night package. So Sunday night will stay with NBC. I don't that contract. I don't think is going to change. I don't think that the NFL is ready to pull the trigger on a Sunday afternoon package to one of the streamers yet. Maybe in the next contract, but
Yeah,
not this time around.
yeah, it's a large commitment and a large leap. Really for in terms of football, it would be a leap or a step out on something that I think they would consider as, while it may be very largely financially backed in terms of the streaming services,
Mm-hmm.
it's still a step out in terms of what they've been doing for forever now.
Mm-hmm.
And people tend to be scared of change. Like that's not anything that's new. So you're going out, it's kind of like stepping on ice. They're dipping their toe out there, testing to see how much pressure it can hold. And once they decide and find out that it will be able to hold what they believe, then they'll go full into the streaming service thing.
I think the issue here, um, if you're a network, whether you're Fox, CBS, whatever, is there's absolutely no way you can outspend one of these streaming services.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they could stroke a check today that would be double what you're going to come up with. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
because you've got Paramount, which is CBS. They're in the midst of getting purchased. They may be purchased by Netflix. I mean, that process is out there. So, so there's a lot of moving parts here, and the NFL will revisit their contract around 2030. So, I know that they're gonna. You can't not look at it. I mean, do I think they'll end up at Fox, or maybe they'll split something? I have no idea, but I do know that what the amount of money the NBA got $76 billion,
Mm-hmm.
which is a mind-boggling amount of money.
Yeah.
So you figure if they got $76 billion, that Goodell is looking at 100 at least.
Mm-hmm.
There
It,
is right now, man. That is a nut that Fox, ESPN, ABC, you know, uh, CBS, all those companies are not, they're just not there. I mean, you could say, all right, we want linear television. I get it. But, can they? Well, the point is they're not going to be able to match a number.
No.
So are you going to go and take a lesser amount for exposure, or are you going to take more money and say, all right, well, they'll grow into it? Because as we all know, people were terrified that Prime was going to ruin Thursday Night Football, but nobody
Mhm.
watched it. Prime's making, I mean, each year they're making numbers that are equal to, well, they're better than what used to be Thursday Night Football when it was on Fox and when it was on CBS and it was on the NFL Network and simulcasting. So the
Mhm.
numbers are there. I mean, the numbers are very representative. The things that I think is most interesting is the NFL is getting a younger audience on streaming on Thursday night,
Mhm.
and they're getting a longer watch time. People are tuning in, watching the pregame and watching the postgame show. So if you're looking for a proof of concept, the audience is there. Now,
Mhm.
whether or not they wish to, they meaning the NFL, wishes to say, all right, we're going to blow off one of our uh, longtime media partners to take on a new streaming partner with a lot of money.
Mhm.
Um, we'll see.
Yeah, and it also makes you wonder because the so the NFL is now in bed with ESPN in terms of ESPN purchased the NFL Network from
Right.
them.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, they have their Monday Night Football game as well.
Mm-hmm.
ESPN's attempting to get Super Bowls. I think that's in a contract. They're getting one in the somewhat near future. Am I correct about that?
It's an ABC ESPN, yeah.
Okay, yeah, yeah, yeah. So the NFL's there. I don't know who they would blow off. Just like there's not one really that sticks out in terms of CBS, ESPN, or why am I blanking? Fox. Like I don't know which one of those you're blowing off. I will say in terms of like just Fox itself, if Fox were to lose the NFL, their product that they carry is slowly dwindling down. Like
Mm-hmm.
the same would go for CBS, a station that used to cover the SEC game of the week. Now that's gone. They're covering like the second or third Big Ten game now
Mm-hmm.
every week. And then you'd look for CBS. Well, they still have March Madness. Yeah, that's good. But then their NFL product would be gone. The NFL is like a very large part of the portfolio of both CBS and Fox. And if they were to sever ties with them, that would like make a big impact in those companies and really what they carry in terms of an overall package.
All right, so let's play a little game here. All right,
Mm-hmm.
let's say Netflix buys Paramount.
Mm-hmm.
They'll own CBS.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, in
I'm
that.
sorry. Wait, Netflix is not. I apologize. Netflix is buying Warner, so that's
Okay.
Turner. That's
Mm-hmm.
TNT.
Mm-hmm.
There, if this were to happen, okay, let's play. We'll play it out for just a minute. If it were to happen, here's what I would think would happen. I think that they would. Right now, CBS has the rights to the AFC games, and Fox has the rights to the NFC games. My guess is they would blow that model up, and they would have, you know, they would pick games where each week, you know, like Fox would have first pick. Let's say Fox is still in the game, and CBS is the one. It's odd man out. Fox would, um, Fox would, 1 week get first pick of the games, and then the next week, if it's Netflix, it would be Netflix or Amazon or Apple or whomever would get the next pick, and so they alternate that, weekly. That is that would be a possible way out of this. Um, there's a number of ways it could be done, but whether they're ready just yet to make that deal. Now, if you remember, I don't know if you do, but um, back in the '90s when Fox got the package, it was NBC that got blown out of the water. NBC had been with the NFL since 1960.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, so, they were just, it was, you know, there in Atlanta, because what happened with Fox when they got the NFL, all of a sudden Fox TV stations, you know, Fox affiliations changed. In Atlanta, CBS went from Channel 5 to Channel 46.
Mm-hmm.
In Detroit, CBS went from Channel 2 to Channel 62. So it changed the landscape of television overnight, where it's changed. TV stations around the country were dropping CBS affiliations and grabbing Fox because they wanted the football games. And it was all in cities where, there was an NFC team. They were scrambling to get a Fox affiliation.
Mm-hmm.
And in so doing, CBS was left to scramble to find channel space. Well, now that's no longer the case. If a streamer gets it,
Mm-hmm.
that doesn't affect the broadcast. However, the only streaming service that has a broadcast partner is ESPN, so they can do the simulcast. I
Mm-hmm.
don't know in I don't know what the next contract's going to go. I mean, I would think that they would try to figure out a way to make it work, um, to keep everybody on board. Uh, who knows? I mean, if they give, let's say they give for the moment, we'll use Netflix as the thing. Netflix gets an afternoon package. Well, then perhaps the morning package of the NFL on in Europe goes to CBS or to Fox.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a number of ways they can play it if that's the way they want to play. But we'll have to wait and see about that. But that's not something to the tomorrow when everybody's streaming on Netflix and on Prime. You're looking at the future, not at the past.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. I will be interested though, because people do like there's people already that are upset with how many streaming services that they have to
Sure.
own individually. So it will be interesting as that continues, because like I can tell you for myself that if it were not for my parents having Amazon Prime, I
Hmm.
would not watch the Thursday night football games. Like it
Hmm.
just would not happen. The only reason I do is because I have access via somebody else's subscription. Like I'm
Hmm.
not paying for that. Um, the the same can be said for like other streaming services as well. Like there's going to come a point where certain people aren't going to buy like if you have it already for the content they have on, that's
Hmm.
great and that's a plus. But it's going to be interesting to see. They're going to have a significant package, I think, in order for people to buy it for their sports package, not for the because I think right now the way the streaming services are working is that people are watching stuff by proxy. Not they don't have I don't they don't have Amazon Prime. Like my parents didn't buy Amazon Prime because they wanted to watch Thursday Night Football. They have it for the streaming service, and I think they get like a discount that goes along with like Amazon shopping or something like that. There's going to have to be more involved. Like these packages are going to have to be pretty large, because when they do acquire these rights, the price for a streaming package is going to go up. And what is that package worth, and how do they deem that, will be interesting. Are they offering multiple services? Is there one with sports, without sports? Because I think you have Hulu plus live sports. That's the option they have currently available, in their partnership with ESPN, I believe.
Well,
But
it's actually Disney
Disney,
Plus. Yeah,
okay.
Hulu and Disney will roll into one after the
Hmm.
first year sometime.
Hmm.
Amazon, and the reason that Amazon is interesting is the vast majority of the people that subscribe to Amazon, myself included, is because I buy a ton of stuff from Amazon.
Mm-hmm.
So the Prime membership, the video portion of it, is just a benefit that I'm given because I'm a member of Prime.
Mm-hmm.
So I just prior to coming on the air, went down to the front desk to pick up an Amazon package. So and it looks the day before Christmas, as you can imagine, it looks like Santa is actually Jeff Bezos's company
Mm-hmm.
because they've made a fortune. So they're not even in the video business. I mean
No.
that's what I think people are forgetting is that Amazon is in the selling of product business.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And the side business is the video, which is why they can do it. Apple TV, Apple's not in the business of television programming. Apple's in the business of selling phones, computers, and other things.
Mm-hmm.
YouTube, which YouTube got the NBA, the NFL, and YouTube had an argument over the fact that YouTube was going to pay the NFL the flat fee for the money for the Sunday ticket and then give it away
Mm-hmm.
because they figured, okay, we've got close to 1 billion subscribers worldwide, so that's going to get us. They've got advertisers from all over the globe. They're like, fine, we're going to use this. The the NFL goes, no, 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 you gotta sell it, and they're like,
Mm-hmm.
well, we want to give it away.
Mm-hmm.
So I think part of this is you've got the streaming services, which Netflix, Prime, Apple, YouTube are the premier three. But you have the Peacock situation, which they're tied to Universal, NBC, Comcast. You got Paramount, which is tied to Sky. The it's now Sky. Skyville. Um, they bought Paramount, so CBS Paramount is there. So you're seeing the raise is not necessarily coming from the Netflix, the Apple, and the Prime and the YouTube people. It's coming from traditional broadcasters who've gotten into the streaming business.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I will say, I'm a fan of Amazon. I mean, um, a fan of Paramount Plus because you get some really good content that is not just sports.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a fan of not a fan of Disney Plus. There's not a lot I can watch on Disney Plus, but I do like Hulu, so I have to buy Disney Plus to get Hulu.
Mm-hmm.
And then the sports there package is the ESPN package. I don't subscribe to that package. I think that $30 a month for a 3-tier package that doesn't give me everything I want is what is good. However,
Mm-hmm.
what we are seeing in the trend here for streaming is, let's say I like Thursday Night Football on Prime. If I'm just subscribing to Prime for Thursday Night Football, then at the end of the season, I just discontinue it and then pick it back up later in the year. So you're seeing a lot of people, who are not buying things for a year. They're just buying it for they're just buying it for the time that the season is up, and then they're leaving it and coming back to it when that time comes. So that's kind of it. But I think there's going to be a lot more consolidation of content and providers because, as you
Mm-hmm.
say, I mean, there's a lot of content out there, and much of it is content you may or may not want to spend money on. And do they push themselves to a point where they price themselves out of the market?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, people always hit a breaking point in terms of their pricing,
Mm-hmm.
and so once that gets too high, like it's going to grow until they reach a price point where people are like that's enough, like it's had enough. Because there is that breaking point. There always is that breaking point. That's the reason that we've shifted to the model that we have, because cable television got to a point to where everybody was kind of looking around and be like, man, I'm paying this much. And like, you know, I don't even get to see what I want to watch.
Mhm.
I can go over to Netflix, and they've got most of my favorite shows, and I can go
Mhm.
watch whatever season, whatever episode I feel like watching right
Sure.
now. So there comes a point in this media stuff where you eventually just kind of price yourself out, and that's in terms of you got to pay more to get more, and that's exactly what they're doing in terms of the sports packages. I it makes sense why they're doing it. I wonder to what extent it values them to get into it though. Like I wonder what the maximum is to where it's like, all right, now it stops being worth it. Like is for Netflix, are these niche games on Christmas Day, is that enough value based on the money you're paying to justify it without having to give that price bump? Like is it something that entices people to maybe pay for a subscription? I
All right, I'll give you some numbers here. The investment in the NFL for Christmas Day by Netflix is 1.7% of the Netflix budget.
that's
So they
that's
don't have to say they don't have to put an extra penny in
hmm
for the new package of Apple's got the part of the baseball package. They got the MLS package,
hmm
and they're working on they'll be involved in some way, shape, or form. And they just did F1. Uh, they will pay out. They've allotted 4.7% of their budget. 4.7% of their budget. $17 billion they'll be spending this year on content,
hmm
which includes sports.
hmm
There is no way in hell that Fox, CBS, or NBC can keep up with that because these companies, as we said before, they're not in the television business.
hmm
So they can absorb a lot of this without passing it on to the consumer
hmm
because in their cases it's almost like you know a lost leader.
hmm
They can put money into it because they know that. And remember that each one of these have worldwide uh,
hmm
exposure. So
Yeah.
you're watching football. If you are watching soccer or baseball on Apple, you could be watching it in Georgia, or you could be watching it, in
And the other Georgia
France,
in Europe.
right? The other Georgia, right? So, or Frankfurt, Kentucky, or Frankfurt, Germany.
hmm
So there's advantages that I think that the model may may very well be, even though the streaming services that both CBS and NBC and Fox hasn't quite gotten up yet, but they're working on it. Um, it's going to be tough to battle with it. It's going to be where's the audience basically. It's always been where's the audience, where will
Yeah.
the audience go, and if they're going to go to streaming, well, then we know that.
hmm
And so if you're going to watch traditional TV, you got plenty of basketball tomorrow. If you're going to watch streaming, you got plenty of football tomorrow.
hmm Yeah. Multiple options. It does make you wonder that, talking about pricing them out, like it's insane that Netflix in essence has been able to set aside 1% of their company per game that they're hosting tomorrow.
Hmm.
1.7, like you're right up there against that number. It, that's like it just you're right, it can't be matched by these cable companies. That's an insane percentage, in at least in my mind, to have set aside based on what they get in terms of their product.
Well, look
uh,
at it this way: Fox, for their not just we're not just talking their sports package, but for all of
mhm,
Fox's sports packages, right?
mhm,
It has now become 50% of their entire broadcast budget.
mhm,
Okay, so that's even the it's if you look at it this way, right? It's cheaper for Netflix and Amazon Apple and all of and the non-traditionals
Mm-hmm.
to buy sports rights than it is to buy a scripted television show or a scripted movie.
Yeah, and you're bringing in now. Granted, they don't necessarily come back in the same manner. Like they don't return in the same manner that
Mm-hmm.
people do. If their favorite show is streaming on something,
Mm-hmm.
at least with the same consistency. But it's I think it's a similar audience size for a cheaper price, which makes sense why
Mm-hmm.
they've turned to it. So
I mean, their goal, if they wanted to, they could put the broadcast business, people out of the sports business,
hmm
and that
yeah,
may very well be eventually the goal,
hmm
which would include, by the way, ESPN.
yeah. Yeah, it's possible. I do think this is less in the business and financial side of it, but like Adam Silver's even talked about the Amazon coverage of the NBA that they've done this year
Mm-hmm.
has been a significantly better product than
Mm-hmm.
what ESPN has put out for the past half a decade. Just in terms of the way they cover the sport. Adam Silver was sitting there and basically just told them he's like, hey, I really like the way you guys have done this. It's been a
Mm-hmm.
refreshing take and refreshing coverage
Mm-hmm.
of this sport. The way that they've handled it. They haven't dove as much into the clickbait and stuff like that. Partially because they don't have to. Like that's where the financials come back into it. These people aren't incentivized to just go make clickbait and get people to click on stuff and get the views. Like they're financially backed to where they can eat it. They're not starving for people to turn on the channel. Like they know people are going to tune in and out.
Well, they don't want, they want live programming. They don't want they don't need all of the sports center stuff.
Mm-hmm.
That's not in their DNA.
Mm-hmm.
All of these networks, these streaming services, they only want the live content.
Mm-hmm.
We want okay, of course, we want a pregame and a postgame show. But guess what? We do not have to have, pardon the interruption in the afternoon. We don't have to
Mm-hmm.
have, all of these other shows that lead up to the program. We just want the program.
Mm-hmm.
So, that leads to less noise and more content that is driven to the game that you're going to watch or the
Yeah.
sport that you're going to watch.
Yeah.
So,
Absolutely.
you don't get to be force fed Stephen A. Smith and arguing with a bunch of other people.
Mm-hmm.
It's not, or Pat McAfee or any of this other stuff. And not that that's bad. It's just that it's they don't care.
Mm-hmm.
They want what in television is called appointment television,
Mm-hmm.
meaning you want the only time you can watch sports, which is the best part of appointment television, is tomorrow at 1 o'clock. We know the Commanders are playing the Dallas Cowboys. If
Mm-hmm.
you want to watch that game, you got to watch it at 1 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
Now there is kind of a cool thing that they've done with it, and it's been done by Peacock and Paramount. Is if you happen to, let's say you get home a little later than you had expected, you can start from the beginning. So
Mm-hmm.
you're not, if you can turn your phone off or turn off the score situations, you can watch a game and see it from beginning to end and not miss anything,
Mm-hmm.
which I think is a good click. But to your point on Thursday night with the football and the basketball, Prime has the other thing that they've done, which I think is important. Apple's done the same thing. Is they've hired the best production companies. They hired the best producers. They
Mm-hmm.
hired great announcers. They spend money
Mm-hmm.
on those events.
Mm-hmm.
The the amount of money they spend on the production alone is sizable.
Mm-hmm.
And again, it's still not even. It doesn't even come close to denting the budget of the the bottom line of these companies.
Yeah.
These are $1 trillion companies.
Yeah. I mean that's a difference. Like they can spend more. They don't have the noise. Obviously, they're larger in terms of their overall financial status than these
Mhm.
broadcast networks, but they can spend more on their production. They can spend more on their broadcast teams. Like these are when you have the ability to spend in the way they do, then they can just create an overall better product and a better viewing experience.
Yeah, and the other part of it is that the the from the production standpoint, they can afford to put the $250,000 cameras up there
Hmm.
that fly around and make it look like you can shoot. They're shooting video games.
Hmm.
Um, Tomorrow, the two games on Netflix will be um, the CBS will produce them. They're being paid to do it
Hmm.
by Netflix. The trucks and crews will be provided by NEP, which is the top production company in the country. So we know that that's going to be quality content. And you got the two you got the two Eagle family members doing the games, Ian and his son. Uh,
Hmm.
so um, so there you go. I mean, they're hiring now. Um, when Amazon went to Thursday Night Football, they went to Al Michaels and Herb Street, and Al's probably got one or two. I think he's got one more year on a contract with Prime, and then they'll probably move to somebody else.
Hmm.
And it's they spend the money. They do not. There's not nobody hides from the checkbook. Eddie Q at Apple, and the guys at Amazon, and the guys at. I mean, if you look at what YouTube just did, is YouTube just got the Oscars. I mean, that was a huge get. They took it right out from under Disney, and they paid Disney more money. I'm sorry, they paid the Oscar more money than Disney without even batting an eyelash. And the pitch to the ABC Disney people was, we have a worldwide audience. We can simulcast this thing all over the globe to literally close to 1 billion people and do it all at one time
Hmm.
and pay you more money than they can.
Yeah.
So I don't think ABC was pleased they lost it, because that's the Super Bowl for people who are movie fans.
Hmm.
So, and they've got that's a huge, uh, you know, female audience that
Hmm.
is involved in that. And so it's a prestigious thing.
Hmm.
Um, so for them to nail it just goes to prove that, there's nothing that cannot be purchased if you think that it's going to expand your reach.
Yeah. Yeah. Luckily, they can't compete with Disney's large conglomerate. Or I mean, the Oscars probably doesn't compete with the numbers of like The Bachelor and The Bachelorette and Dancing with the Stars. I know those are.
Well,
It,
it's a one off. So I
yeah.
mean, yeah, they get huge numbers for one night,
Hmm. Yeah.
but for them, it's more of a prestigious thing, right?
Hmm.
It's and by the way, you know the the Bachelor and all the ABC content is on Hulu the next day anyway. So you know that's again, the streaming option is there. So yeah, I mean, it's a paradigm that we're gonna have to continue to watch and see, how they play it. Um, but they definitely have the cash to pull off whatever it is that they want to pull off. By the way, we got a quick update on yesterday's conversation we had about DAZN. Um, my understanding is that DAZN wants to try to get this thing done by January, but Main Street um, is not necessarily happy with the number at that they're getting right now. I have no I have no idea why any number at this point is better than going out of business. But
Yeah, I was about to say, what's their other option?
the other
Stop.
option is just is bailing.
So,
So we'll see how that plays out. But um, I mean, it was a fair market offer,
hmm
and I think part of the problem with Main Street, which was part of the problem with Diamond, was it had unrealistic amounts of what they could sell it for.
yeah.
And I think they're playing a very dangerous game here
hmm
because if the zone walks away, there's nobody standing there, behind them to take it.
hmm
So we'll see how that plays out too. One other thing we'll see, we mentioned, and I'm curious about this, and we'll start wrapping things up so that people can go out and finish their Christmas shopping. Um, what do you think the fans are going to be like tomorrow at Arrowhead, knowing that the Chiefs have made a deal to go to Kansas,
I
albeit 25 miles away, but still.
yeah, I to be honest with you, I don't expect that many of them to be there.
That's true. There's
Like,
nothing for
yeah,
this.
I was about to
It's not a
say
big game.
outside of outside of the fact that they did so stadium, maybe now that they did so stadium, that might get them to sell more tickets. But if I'm being honest, like that's a tough selling point that the Kansas City Chiefs had going into this Christmas Day game. Hey,
Mhm.
come watch the Chiefs. Patrick Mahomes isn't playing. We're not going to make the playoffs.
Our
It's
third
also
string
on Christmas
quarterback.
Day.
Yeah, our
Yeah,
third string quarterback starting.
yeah. It's also going to be like 20 degrees and
Right.
in Christmas night. Like that's if I'm just as a Chiefs fan, that is a horrible, horrible, horrible selling pitch.
Yeah.
You're not getting me to the stadium. I can tell you that much. I like sports. I love football, but I'm smart enough to know when to watch a game at home versus when to go. And that's one where I'm planting my ass on the couch and not moving.
Right. With your hot chocolate.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
Just
Could not
enjoying
couldn't.
the
They
enjoying
couldn't pay me to go to that game.
right. Maybe that was a wrong. By the way, I got some questions that came yesterday about what's going on with the Royals. The Royals have purchased land in Kansas at Overland. For those of you who are not familiar with that, that is it used to be where the NCAA had their headquarters. It's literally across the river from Kansas City, and I would guesstimate that we said yesterday between 25 and 30 miles is where the Arrowhead, the Chiefs people will be moving. And this would be a little bit closer, maybe 15, 20 miles away, but it would still be in Kansas. The interesting thing to watch for is for them to get the bonds that they need to get passed by the legislature of the state of Kansas. If they were to move, it would have to be by the 31st of this month. So I don't expect that to happen, which simply would mean that Missouri has one more year to figure it out before the Kansas City Royals choose to maybe relocate on land which they purchased. It's 100 acres of land, um, which used to be a large campus for um, um, a tech company. And so there's a lot that they could do in that 100 acres because to give you an idea, I believe over at the Braves new stadium, the uh, acreage is between 75 and 80 acres, something like that.
Yeah,
So
I don't know.
100 acres is a lot is
Yeah.
enough land for them to do what they did in Atlanta.
Oh yeah, yeah, plenty beyond enough. And I
Yeah.
mean, Atlanta's at time there's a central little hub, but then you don't realize just how far out it goes.
Mhm.
Or at least I didn't the first time that I kind of went through it really. So yeah, it's massive in terms of the complex overall.
When you were out there for the first time, was it um, fan friendly?
Yeah, it's fairly fan friendly. It I kind of like the way that the Braves have done it because they have like the way the stadium is situated is there's very much a path for you to show up and you walk into the stadium and you walk right back out of the stadium.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing there. But then on the other side of the stadium, like towards the right field, like the right field exit,
Where the chop
is
shop
this,
is?
yeah, it just goes straight into everything. So you have options really about the way you want to experience your game day. You can kind of
Mm-hmm.
go old school and just show up to the ballpark, walk right back out of the ballpark, and the only thing you see is other people on a parking deck.
Mm-hmm.
Or you can go and you can eat and drink and do all of the things that the Battery has to offer before
Mm-hmm.
or after the game as well.
So
And
okay,
it feels connected and disconnected at the same time, depending on
right,
where you're at.
right. So you have you're not forced to go from through the entire Battery to get to the ballpark,
Mm-hmm.
which
Yeah,
makes a lot of sense.
yeah, and that's the way that they've set up. There's still some parking, or there is parking on the side of the stadium that has the
Mhm.
Battery, but there is a significant like most of the Braves, like their true designated lots,
Mhm.
sold by the team, are they keep it on the side to where you are parking, and you still have that option to just walk up to the ballpark and walk right back out.
All right, one last thing before I let you go.
Mm-hmm.
It's Christmas, so you're the Boston Red Sox. What do you want for Christmas if you're the Boston Red Sox? You can name me the name of a guy, give me a couple of people. You're the Boston Red Sox. Who do you want for Christmas? Under that tree, who would be the ideal person you would want to see there?
So I've got twofold answer here.
Okay.
The first is I want them to stop being scared to spend. It's
Mm-hmm.
not that they're not spending, but they're very scared to spend. They're very
Mm-hmm.
scared on the contracts they hand out in terms of
Mm-hmm.
long-term deals. The second is the two guys that I want under the tree, and that's Cole Reagans and that's Alex Bregman. Cole
Okay.
Reagans is going to come at a trade price, but Alex Bregman did a lot for that clubhouse last year,
Mm-hmm.
and he fills a spot that we desperately need filled at third base,
Mm-hmm.
and you can do it free of charge. Like there's no QO attached to him. He was in your clubhouse last year. You know how he fits.
Mm-hmm.
And so he fits perfectly into that system. And in terms of Cole Reagans, it would be a high asking price. I know that. But they've talked about how they want a number two starter. Kansas City has it. Kansas City has an outfield need. And Jaron Duran is a guy that they were shopping. Now, granted, it's not something that they're very high on now.
Mm-hmm.
They've talked about how they're okay having the outfielders, but I want Reagans and I want Bregman back. And I'm not saying it would happen, but it'd be real nice if we brought both of them in and then they can queue up the duck boats around a couple months earlier this time next year.
There you go. All right. Well, Merry Christmas to you, Matthew, and
Merry Christmas, and Happy Holidays.
everybody else out there. We'll be back on Monday because it's going to be a nice long weekend and playoffs and all kinds of fun stuff, and so we'll be able to talk about all that because next week it gets serious again on the college football side. A lot of stuff will be going on in the portal. People have jumped in and already signed with teams, so
Oh yeah.
plenty of that stuff to talk about. So we hope that you get what you want for the holidays, and but most of all that it's a safe one for you, it's a peaceful one for you, and that you all stay warm and have a lovely family event. So enjoy your time, enjoy Christmas, and we'll be back with you right after right after the holidays on Monday. So until then, be safe and enjoy. Take care. First time in 3 days I actually hit the right